Hello, friends. I'm here to talk about who you are, who you really, really are, because most of us here are pretenders. We think that we are humans. We think that we're moms. We think that we are wives or teachers or nurses or bureaucrats or whatever it is that you do for a living. And those identities are all masks and they're all false identities. And when you know who you truly, really are, all the fear dissipates, because pretending to be someone that you're not puts you in a fearful place. And none of us wants to live like that. So I want to clue you in. Think about this. When you were a kid, you had preferences and you had thoughts and you had a personality and a way of seeing and doing things. And then you got older and you matured and you got a wider perspective on the world. But that way that you saw the world and the way that you thought about things, has that ever changed? I'm 64 years old and I still think about things the way that I did when I was 6 years old. I can clearly remember being 6 years old and thinking certain things. And I still see the world through that lens. That is the eternal essence of who you really are. Not the body, not your career, not your social status, but that thing inside that shows you the world through the eyes of the body. That essence. And every baby knows this, because when babies are born, they don't even know they have bodies. They discover their bodies. They discover all of a sudden that they have a foot and they're like, oh, what is this foot? What is it doing here? And then they stick it in their mouth and then they taste it and then they feel it and then they play with it because it's foreign to them. It's new to them. It's not who they really are. Who they really are is pure spirit in a body, in the same way that I am in this car. And I will get out of this car, but I will still be me. So you are just using this body as a vehicle to travel through life on this 3D planet of Earth and to explore this Earth with your senses. But who you really are is something eternal. The body dies. It doesn't last forever. But who you are does last forever. A Course in Miracles has a lesson that gets repeated over and over and over again because it takes a long time for most of us to get it. And that lesson says, I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. Do you think that God created you in his or her image means that he or she is some big body somewhere? Do you really think God is in a body sitting up on a cloud? No. When we were created in the image of our Creator, we were created in the essence, in the spirit, in the same spirit and essence as our Creator, who is also a spirit and an essence that is eternal and never dies. And that's who you really are. So here's one way to think about this that might make more sense to you. A Course in Miracles constantly reinforces the idea of content over form. It's the content that matters, not the form. So when I go to buy something at the store, do I care about the package that it's in? Maybe. I might be attracted to the packaging, but it's what's inside that I'm really purchasing. So when I go buy lip gloss, I'm buying the lip gloss, not the tube. I'm going to throw the tube in the trash. In the same way that this body is expendable and will be discarded at some point because it doesn't have value. The package doesn't have the value. The value is what is inside. When you go buy a bottle of ketchup, what you want is the ketchup. What's inside? You don't care if it's in a plastic bottle or a glass bottle or a tube or whatever. And this is how we need to think about ourselves and how we need to think about each other to understand who we really are and who they really are. Because we get so focused on the packaging, on the body, that we lose sight of the essence, what's inside. And that's the truth of who you are, my friend. Thank you so much for showing up. Leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time. I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I love you.